This is the most underrated country in all of Southeast Asia. In our opinion, of course. We are in Laos, more specifically Vang Vieng, and whilst it is on a lot of backpackers' itineraries, it's definitely much less visited than the likes of Thailand and Vietnam. But Laos has everything: incredible landscapes, delicious food, endless activities, and whilst it may not have a beach to lounge on, there are still plenty of spots to take a dip. This is part 1 of our Vang Vieng series, and what better way to start off than by doing the activity that kind of put Vang Vieng on the map for backpackers who are travelling around Southeast Asia. We're gonna go tubing.
Every time. So hiring the tube, it's 80,000 kip each, but also if you want to go like any time, you pay per person. So we have to pay 20,000 kip per person for the tuk-tuk to the start of the river. But I believe if you wait for the whole tuk-tuk to fill up, you don't have to pay extra. But we're coming early, we want to beat the crowds. We're not like into the tipsy side of the tipsy tubing.
There is just so much natural beauty here in Laos. Look at that backdrop right now. And it's like no surprise that air-based adventure sports are so big here. You've got your zip lining, but also obviously you've got the hot air ballooning and the paramotor, which looks amazing. But if you guys have been following us for a while, you would know that I'm absolutely terrified of heights. I hate it. So it's probably not for me, but the views that you would get and like the landscapes that you would get to go over, wow.
So we've been dropped here at the Nam Song River at like the starting point of the tubing experience. So while we got dropped here, we don't get picked up. So there is apparently a sign on the left at some point that will tell us that this is the end of the tubing spot. I have read a lot of people miss it and end up on this guy's farm, but it sounds like he's very used to that. Hopefully that doesn't happen to us. It's so beautiful here. There's a lot of kayakers going past us at the moment, but I think it's time we get in the water.
Have you seen the water? That looks a bit rapidy. We did it! Let's go!
This is amazing. We're 30 seconds in and it's amazing.
It's been about 10 minutes and I think we've moved max 100 meters. It's a very slow experience. Stacey's loving it. She loves lazy kind of rivers. I love them too. I don't know if I'm gonna love 3 hours of them. Stacey's getting beached as I talk right now. Now, of course, when you're tubing, you don't get given any paddles or oars. You kind of just go with the flow of the water. However, there are a few obstacles. Oh, I'm hitting the ground. I'm hitting the ground. Stacey's being abducted.
2 seconds later.
Rosh is currently stuck and she's getting pulled along by this little child. How embarrassing, but I also think she thinks he's just trying to help, but he's actually trying to get her to go up to his family's farm.
Just pulled me out of the water. No idea why. What about Stace? So we have been pulled into our first bar. I didn't know that's what was happening, but we're here now. And look, we're not going to say no to a summer's beer after sitting in that sun
For 5 minutes.
for about 20-25 minutes. And you can't say no to a little kid who pulls you out as you're beached in the middle of the river. So here we are. Alright, as you can see, we're back on the water now. Making our way a little bit further down the river.
Rosh has somewhat left me.
Stace is all the way back there.
Gotcha! Reunited at last. We're now at the point in our journey where we've come to a complete stop. It took me about 10 to 15 minutes to catch up to Rosh because we were both at dead stops. It's amazing. I really like it here.
Okay, we can hear the sounds of rapidly moving water. I think that means we are approaching rapids. Are you ready for this?
No.
Is your butt ready? Elevate that butt. This is much more of an exciting ride.
Okay, they were some real life rapids though. Have fun.
Stace almost just fell out at what I'm about to go through. Ah! Feel good about the camera. Oh god! Oh! Oh, I might have just perfectly driven this. Oh!
4 hours later.
Okay, we made it to the end, and to show you the sign that you have to look out for, It's this little guy. It's quite small, so make sure you are on the lookout. It is on the left. You can see what it looks like there. I think we were ready to be done. It took us about 4 hours from start to finish, and we only made one probably 15-20 minute stop at a bar, so a long time. A lot of paddling we had to do today because the water was not really flowing, although you'd then get to like a rapid and it would be like flowing too much. Almost flipped at one point, but Rosh did a very good job of keeping this bad boy nice and dry.
Not cool easy before we were debriefed on.
Well, I just got everything wet, so. But that was an incredible experience. I mean, even the scenery I'm looking at now is so beautiful. But we'll walk our tubes back to the office and probably rest for the rest of the day because that was a lot of sun.
Stacey was leading the way back to return our tubes, and we had to walk past this like massive puddle. And there's one break in between the puddle with mud, so she went with the mud, like over the mud, and this is what happened. There are shoes in there somewhere. I just look like I'm wearing socks. Nature's socks. And now that we have returned our tubes, I think we both deserve a caramel frappe. And I know the perfect place to get one. It's called Pan's Place. And we actually got one the day that we arrived because we couldn't check in for a while. So we sat in this cafe and drank our caramel frappuccinos, and it was so good. So we're gonna do it again.
That's good.
Well, tubing was the perfect way to start off our time here, and we're going to finish our day at a place that has some of the best views of the sunset here in Vang Vieng. We have come to Green Restaurant, which as you can see has some pretty amazing views. We actually came here for our dinner our first night here in Vang Vieng, and the massaman curry was so good, but also even if the meals weren't good, we would have come back because it has amazing views.
It's so cool sitting here. It was the same the other night. You can see all the hot air balloons going around for the sunset flights, and also the paramotors, which are kind of interesting too. We're probably not going to get up to that in this video, but you'll have to stay tuned for our part 2 to see if we do any of those really cool things that you can do here in Laos. Well, that was super delicious and an incredible view of the sunset. If you do want to get a seat like right on the edge of the balcony to watch the sunset, make sure you get there early because it fills up so quickly. We got there just after 5 and there were still a few tables on the end, but by like 5:36 it was packed and people were struggling to find seats at all. So definitely recommend that restaurant. And now it's time for us to settle in for the night because we've got a big jam-packed day tomorrow. Okay, we are a little worse for wear after tubing. We're very sore from having to paddle, and the sun got to us after 4 hours in the sun. We are both quite burnt, me in particular.
Look at this tomato!
We did put on sunscreen, but unfortunately we were just on the water far too long. But today we're nice and covered up, and we're actually going to explore Vang Vieng by foot a little bit. So we're heading to one site that you can actually walk to from the town, which hopefully will be pretty cool. So we're on our way to Tham Chang Cave. To get into this area, we haven't crossed the river yet, but to get through here, you have to go through a gate and 5,000 kip each, and then I believe once we actually get to the cave itself, we'll have to pay entry again. I'm not sure how much. I did read, I think like 15,000 kip each, but we shall see.
So there was this little gate blocking the bridge. We're assuming that means no bikes and that we're allowed to climb over it, so hopefully we're not breaking any rules. So it is 147 steps all the way to the top, but we're shaded at the moment, so I don't think it's going to be too bad.
I'd forgotten about the steps and I'd forgotten to tell Rosh about the steps.
These are extra tall steps, so I'm going to double it. 147 by 2. Stacey, you're quick at maths. 294? 294? Am I right, future Rosh in editing this video? Yes, almost there.
Yep. There are some pretty decent views up here. This might be a bit of an underrated spot to get a good view of Vang Vieng. I'm still parking, but it's not that high up. It was like less than 5 minutes to get up the stairs.
We have made it into the cave area now. Stace feels like her leg is going to cramp after 147 steps. Are you limping?
Yes.
She might need to be airlifted.
My Euro stair fitness is gone.
But these caves are pretty amazing. It's already lit up in here, like you don't need to bring your own headlight. Some of the rocks inside the cave are like glistening in the lights. They're really shiny. I'm not sure what they're made of. If you've got any ideas, let me know in the comments below. My geology knowledge is extremely limited, if not non-existent. And if you walk through the cave, it leads you out to this lookout area. It's definitely a pretty cool spot.
We've made it outside the caves now, but we're not making our way home quite yet. We're sitting at one of these tables. And the reason is I have a very strict policy with Rosh that, to clarify, I don't control her life, but when we're traveling, she's not to go up to stray dogs. I feel like that's common sense. A lot of people say that, don't go up to the stray dogs, especially when you're in countries where there may be rabies and things like that. You never know what will happen. Rosh's dad got bitten unprovoked by a dog when he was traveling through Southeast Asia, so it's just a bit of common sense. But there's a puppy, and Rosh's workaround for my policy is if it comes up to her, then she has to pet it. So we're now sitting here waiting for the puppy to come up to us. And I still don't think she should touch it, but you know, she's a grown woman.
No, I got pretty close to it though, and that was nice.
For lunch today we've come to Luang bakery, which is in fact not in Luang, it is in Vang Vieng. It's quite popular here. Some baked goods, they've got sandwiches and other like cooked foods you can order, coffees that are bigger than your head. We're very excited. We've got some sandwiches today. It's been actually since our slow boat trip was when we last had sandwiches, but mine has brie in it, which I'm really excited about because I haven't had brie probably since before we started traveling, so like 8 months ago. It feels fancy.
Well, those sandwiches were delicious and I think they were just what we needed. These are also delicious, just enormous. Speaking of enormous, they also have like massive chocolate chip cookies that kind of look like a loaf of bread. So maybe we have to, yeah, maybe we have to come back to try them.
Earlier on in the video, we showed you one way to cruise down the Tham Chang River. So today, we're going to show you the other popular way. So we've apparently unknowingly signed up for an 8-kilometer paddle. We had a bus full of people and they told 6 of us to get off at the first stop. And the other four people are in a group together and they said they signed up to do an 8-kilometer paddle as opposed to the normal 5-kilometer paddle. So apparently we're going for an 8-kilometer paddle today. Rosh is doing a great job. I'm in my resting era. We've been going for about 3 minutes. We've just realised the last time we were in a kayak was in Canmore, which is a vastly different environment. If you haven't seen that video, we'll link it up there, but that was equally incredible but so different. It was obviously cold and now we're in hot Laos. But it's so beautiful cruising here. Like, I'm cruising, Rosh is doing all the paddling. You okay? Yeah, this is relaxing.
Yeah, it looks like it.
But we keep seeing cows at the water. How's the view?
Cows?
Yeah. Hey guys. We're now cruising past some of like the bars and stuff we passed in tubing the other day. Definitely a lot easier when you're in the kayak. Okay, we're about to go down a rapid. This is where we got in for tubing the other day and we decided to get in after the rapid. We thought it was a bit much to get in with the tubes, but we'll see how we go. We haven't flipped yet, so it's a positive. Oh my god! There is so much more to see and do in Vang Vieng, so make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our part 2 video.